Hey guys, I wanted to give you this update on 7 reasons why I believe a recession is imminent. Now, I know that we've been hearing that the sky is falling for about 2 years now. It can feel a little bit like Chicken Little. You know, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Well, when is this sky really gonna fall?
Are you crazy?
Did you know that in the global financial crisis as well as the Great Depression, there was a 2-year run-up. There was 2 years of warnings that certain people saw the warning signs and they got out while they could. So number one, we have $2 trillion that have left bank deposits in the last year. Jerome Powell has hiked interest rates 10 times in the last year. It's unprecedented. Because of that, all of these money market accounts and treasuries are paying more than banks are paying. And so people are taking their money out of banking system and putting it in treasuries or money markets at brokerage houses. That's $2 trillion that aren't sitting at the bank. Well, if you're a bank and I deposit $1 million in the checking account at your bank, you can lend or lever up to 14 times that $1 million, and that's how you make loans. You see, deposits at a bank is very expensive to service. The way that banks make money is through loans, and so if I take my $1 million away, that's 14 million in loans that can't be created. Well, we've had $2 trillion in deposits that have left the banks, which means that's $24 trillion in loans that won't be made. Now, that's like almost, not quite, almost the size of our GDP in new loans that won't go into the economy to help grow our economy. This spells disaster as far as a slowing down of our economy in the upcoming months and year. Number two, we have $1.5 trillion in commercial loans that will be coming due for repayment or refinance between now and 2025. The way that commercial loans work, it's not like your 30-year fixed mortgage at your home. They're usually 2 to 5 year increments and they are variable. So they go up and down after the term of that loan. So all of a sudden, all these loans are coming due. The interest rates are double what they were used to paying. Many commercial real estate owners and occupiers are gonna unfortunately have to return the keys back to the banks because their payments are gonna double and they don't have that cash flow to cover that massive, potentially double what that cost was of servicing that debt. So imagine if you have a commercial real estate building and your payments per month are $100,000 and now they go up to $200,000. If you don't have that extra cash flow, you're in trouble. Well, we have $1.5 trillion of those types of loans that are coming due between now and 2025, and banks aren't going to want to refinance because of number three. Number three is the yield curve. Did you know that there are 2 bulletproof recession indicators that have been successful in predicting recessions with 100% accuracy since the 1950s? And it is the yield curve. So let me show you how this works. Okay, so here is the different treasuries that you can buy from our government. We've got 3 months, 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year, 30 year. Now, these percentages are what the treasuries are currently paying. So 3 month is paying 5.25%, 6 month is 5.34, 1 year is 5.8, 2 years 4.35, 5 years 3.76, 10 years 3.71, and 30 years 3.96. The yield curve goes off of 2 primary categories that are really good at predicting recessions, and that is the 3-month 10-year yield curve and the 2-year 10-year yield curve. The way that it works is if the 3-month is paying higher than the 10-year, that is a sure tell sign that recession is coming. If the 2-year treasury is paying more than the 10-year, then it's a sure tell sign that recession is coming. It's the inverted yield curve. Did you know that we actually have a larger inverted yield curve more than the global financial crisis and the dot-com bubble? The yield curve is steeper than the global financial crisis and the dot-com bubble in both categories. So this is a very scary, but also telling sign of what is coming. This has been accurate since the 1950s, and it is telling us that the outlook for a bank, for example, is they would rather put their money in something that's short-term and guaranteed and make more interest than they would long-term lending, because this is oftentimes the rates are attached to the interest rates for both treasuries and for lending. So why would a bank lend something long-term when they will make less than if they just put it in treasuries and make more? So down the road, that's gonna mean less loans are made. Number 4, lumber prices are plummeting. Did you know that lumber is a leading indicator of future contraction in an economy? It shows how much demand for new house starts, for new commercial real estate starts, and new houses and construction is almost 20% of our GDP. So if lumber's at an all-time low, that's showing us that demand is also at an all-time low, and new house and construction is 20% of our GDP. We're seeing a contraction. In fact, if you go and look at Home Depot recently is waving a bunch of red flags that our stocks are going down because we are not seeing the type of growth or the type of production that we normally see quarter after quarter here at the Home Depot stores. People aren't buying as much. They're not doing as much to their homes. They're not buying as many homes. And because of that, Home Depot prices are going down, and it's a leading indicator of a slowdown in the real estate and construction industry. Number 5, we're going into an election year. Election years are historically volatile. Usually there's a bunch of turmoil in the market. Traditionally, the year after a midterm election is one of the best years in the 4-year cycle, and it really wasn't that great this last year because we're having problems in our economy because of the over manipulation. But we are going into an election year, and that is something to also take heed of. That is number 5. Number 6, personal savings in the United States. From 1959 until 2023, if you made 100 grand, the average savings that you would have had over those 60 plus years was a grand total of 8.91%. So if you make 100 grand, you've got $8,900 in savings. It reached the pinnacle for savings in April of 2020, where if you made 100 grand, you had 33% saved, or 33 grand, but unfortunately, they are forecasting by 2024 that we are going to reach an all-time low of only 2% savings. So if you make 100 grand, you only have $2,000 saved by 2024. That is terrifying. To take it a step further, 46% of all consumers, about 150 million people in America, have used buy now, pay later to purchase goods in 2023. Almost half. Of those 150 million people, or 46% of all consumers, 21% of them have used buy now, pay later for groceries. Think about that. That is sad. If people can't even afford groceries, what does that tell you about the health of our economy? And then finally, number 7, we are already above the global financial crisis bank default levels. So if you remember in 2007, 2008, Washington Mutual, that big bank that ended up failing, WAMU was about slightly north of $400 billion. And there were some other banks that failed, and it brought up the grand total of bank defaults in the global financial crisis to around $500 billion. Well, since Silicon Valley, Signature, and First Republic, just those 3 banks alone are already north of $500 billion in bank defaults. So we are already above the bank default levels. And then if you take it a step further, the latest one that's in trouble is Pacific Bank. And Pacific Bank is kind of a canary in the coal mine because Pacific Bank is largely comprised of institutional investors in the commercial real estate space. And so their stocks are going down, and I think commercial real estate is really going to have a difficult time. But guys, these are 7 reasons. Listen, I'm not the smartest guy ever, but there's a lot of people who are a lot smarter than I am who are saying the same things. I know that we've been hearing this for a long time, and it seems like we're kicking a dead horse. But I'll tell you this, We had a 2-year warning sign in the global financial crisis. We also had a 2-year warning sign in the Great Depression. And so the people who were aware and made the changes weren't wiped out. And I hope that that's you guys. If you guys are overly exposed, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Is it in 3 months? Is it in 6 months? Is it in a week? Is it in a year? I don't know. I don't know. But it's gonna happen. It needs to happen. We need to flush out this bad debt. We need to get our prices under control. We need to get our employment under control. We need to have a flush out so that we can have a healthier economy that's not stimulated by hot air. I want to encourage you, if you're getting close to retirement or you're already retired and all of your money's in the market, don't be like the many millions of Americans who they heard about it, but they didn't do anything. Give us a call today if you'd like to learn more about some of the strategies that you can utilize where you can still participate in market upside, but if the crash happens, you don't lose a penny. Your principal is contractually guaranteed. Reach out to us today. Hopefully this was helpful. I love you guys, and we're here to give you as much valuable content as possible. We'll see you on the next video.